I've got a special mission for you. We think you've got a rainforest species in your house. I'm going to show you how to identify them, and then you're going to go off searching around your home, your school, your office to see if you can find them where you live. Let's go and have a talk to Dave. So the first plant that you're going to be hunting for in your houses is this one. This is called a Swiss cheese plant, or a monstera. Okay, you're looking for a plant with big leaves with big holes in it. Now, Dave, I know that they've got those holes in the leaves, got a fancy name. So our word of the day is?
Fenestration.
Fenestration, okay, which means windows in the leaves. Why have they got those, do you know?
The few theories to let light through, to cool the plant, or to make it look like it's already been eaten, so it's not as appealing to be eaten again.
Right, okay. Now, if you're looking for this plant in your house, you'll often find it growing up a moss pole. So there'll be something in the middle that the plant is growing up. So why do they do that? Why, when we're growing a plant like that at home, why do we make it grow up a pole?
So in the wild, they obviously grow up a tree. They'd latch onto something and they'd start climbing up the trees, climbing up through the canopy to get towards the light.
Another name for a Swiss cheese plant, a nickname for them, is fruit salad plants. Okay, and when I came into the tropical exhibit last week, then I found one of the fruits from this plant on the floor, and it's got a really distinctive smell. It smells nice, doesn't it?
In the wild, you'd be finding it in the tropics, so Central America, Panama, Belize, the rainforests.
Okay, so it's right in the rainforest, in the tropics. Yeah. Okay, not in your lounge. No. Okay, what can that tell us about how you would grow it at home?
The clues obviously is where it grows in the wild is on the forest floor, so you can see from the big leaves and the way it climbs up things that it will start at the bottom. Yeah. So it likes to be in a dark spot, and probably quite wet, quite humid. Okay,
I know these, like when they're young, Swiss cheese plants show something really interesting, which is they'll actually head for darkness, right? Mm-hmm. So negative phototropism. Yeah. Okay, so they'll actually head for a dark corner. Why is that?
That usually means it'll be under a tree.
Right, so find a tree and then head up to the light. Yeah. Now the next plant we're looking for is this one, which is the rubber plant. So you're looking in your house for a plant with a leaf like this, okay? So are there any clues that would tell us that this comes from a wet place?
Yeah. So you're looking at these bits here, they're called drip tips.
Right, drip tips, okay.
Which help the leaf get rid of the water. So yeah, it means that it's definitely from somewhere where there's lots of rain. Yeah, okay, so they funnel the water down and drip it off.
So, if you were looking for this plant in the wild, in India or China, it could be forming an enormous tree, 195 feet. Okay, so an enormous tree. Now, when they get that big, they're going to need lots of roots to hold them up, and you can actually look for this in your house, right? So, Dave, you were going to tell me about aerial roots.
Yeah, so these will produce roots right the way up the stem, help support them as they grow.
Right, and in the past, people have actually woven those, or like grown those roots along pieces of bamboo to make bridges, right?
Yeah, you can train these roots into any sort of shape, but yeah, so traditionally made into bridges between sort of villages in the rainforest.
Okay, so actually growing the roots of the tree across a stream to actually make a bridge that people can use when the river rises up. Okay, so if you've got a lot of time, okay, and you've got one of these in your house, you too could grow the aerial roots and actually weave them together to make maybe not a bridge, but maybe a little structure in your house. Okay, so there's a challenge for you if you've got a few decades to spare. Is there anything we need to know about the care for them?
No, these are quite easy to look after in your house actually.
Right, so if you were looking for your first house plant, this might be a good one to try. Maybe maybe a little bit more resistant to like watering and forgetting to water it.
Yeah, they can be quite forgiving of sort of lack of water or too much water.
Right, now for our final plant today, we've gone for a radical change of ecosystem. I've brought us into our desert house, okay, and I'm sure straight away a lot of you will be able to name this plant, but can you find one in your house? Can you find a plant like this in your house? Now Dave, I know we're looking at a special sort of cactus today, so what have we got?
We've got the golden barrel cactus.
So this is a plant from the deserts of Central and North America. So Dave, what can that tell us about how we should keep it at home?
So it wants to have lots of light, it wants to be quite dry underneath, but the common misconception with cactus is they do actually require quite a lot of water.
Now I know if you look after them correctly, they can live for a long time, so how long are we talking?
100 years.
100 years. Okay, so if you've got a plant in your house and you look after it correctly, you could still have that pet cactus at 100 years old. Right, so cacti are famous for one thing, right, which are spines. So Dave, why has a cactus got spines?
A cactus got spines for many reasons. So the obvious one is to stop things eating it. Obviously sharp spines keep things away. There's not a lot of other things in the desert to eat. They're adapted leaf structures, so they're in fact leaves.
Hold on, so a spine is a leaf?
Yeah.
Like just the central?
Yeah, so it's just a very basic leaf.
So of all the plants we've looked at today, this is the one that's actually endangered in the wild. So when scientists talk about an animal being endangered, you also get plants that are endangered as well.
These are endangered in the wild because people are collecting them to go as houseplants.
So the ones that people can buy in the shops in this country, those will be grown in nurseries. Like a long time ago they would have come from the wild, but the ones that we can buy now in this country would be grown in nurseries. But in other countries they actually may be taken from the wild, especially I guess the big specimens if you wanted something big in your house. So here is our challenge to you. Right now, go and find a rainforest or a desert species in your house.